Battle has made him an enticing candidate for a lot of folks going forward. Let's get to Deion Sanders, the father of Shedeur Sanders, head coach of Colorado as well. He's already coached him in college 1 year. I actually do think that Deion Sanders becomes an option if Shedeur is still the starting quarterback next year. I'm not kidding. Deion maybe said he didn't want to coach in the NFL, but I guarantee you, if his son is the starting quarterback, that changes everything. It's something.
NFL insiders just leaked the list of coaches Jimmy Haslam is targeting to replace Kevin Stefanski, and one name is sending shockwaves through Cleveland: Deion Sanders. That's right, Coach Prime himself could be coming to the NFL, specifically to coach his son Shedeur. And sources are saying if Shedeur is the starting quarterback next year, this becomes a real possibility. But it doesn't stop there. We've got JOE Brady's name heating up as the top offensive mind available. Diana Russini reporting on Marcus Freeman making the jump from Notre Dame, and even MIKE Tomlin's name being whispered if Pittsburgh finally fires him. The coaching carousel is about to get wild, and I've got the inside scoop on every single candidate Jimmy Haslam is considering. What I'm about to reveal will change everything you thought you knew about Cleveland's future.
Brady of the Buffalo Bills is another name that's coming up in a lot of conversations with head coaches and GMs here. I think JOE Brady's a great candidate for Cleveland. I'm going to go out and say that. I think he's your guy. If JOE Brady is available this offseason, offensive coordinator of the Buffalo Bills who has done miracles with Josh Allen. Josh Allen looks like the best offensive player in football right now. And JOE Brady is a large part of that. And he's been a large part of that for years. And quite frankly, the Bills don't have.
So look, the moment we've all been waiting for is finally here. The names are out, the list is circulating, and let me tell you, some of these candidates are going to blow your mind, while others are going to make you scratch your head wondering what the hell Cleveland is thinking. But before we dive into this, let me be real with you for a second. Kevin Stefanski's time in Cleveland is done. I don't care what Mary Kay Cabot says. I don't care about the damage control articles. The man is 6-25 over the last 2 seasons, and Jimmy Haslam is about to pull the trigger. It's not a matter of if anymore, it's a matter of when. And you know what? When that announcement drops, I'm going live immediately. No delays, no waiting around. You're going to get breaking news analysis the second it happens, so make sure you hit that subscribe button right now because you don't want to miss that moment. Now, let's get into the candidates, and I'm going to break down each one exactly how I see it. No sugarcoating, no BS, just straight facts mixed with what this means for Shedeur Sanders. First up, we got Robert Saleh, the current defensive coordinator for the San Francisco 49ers. Now, before you start typing in the comments, let me say this. Saleh is a defensive-minded coach, and that's already a red flag for what Shedeur needs. But here's what's interesting. The Browns experienced firsthand just how good Saleh is. Remember that game? Shedeur only put up 8 points that day. 8. Saleh was drawing up schemes that had our rookie quarterback looking confused out there. He's smart, no doubt. He's proven he can shut down rookie quarterbacks specifically. But here's the thing. When he was the head coach of the New York Jets, he went 20-36. Now, you could argue the Jets are a dysfunctional mess and it wasn't all his fault, and you'd be right. But do we really want to take that risk? Do we want another defensive coordinator trying to figure out how to develop an offensive-minded quarterback? I like him as a coordinator, love what he does on that side of the ball, but as a head coach for Shedeur Sanders, I'm not sold. Next.
It's B with Jimmy Haslam, Deshaun Watson on the board. Now, those of you guys who might not notice, Deshaun Watson is still owed a lot of money by the Cleveland Browns, hence why he's still on this damn team. Now, stated the Cleveland Browns 3 games left in the 2025 season and a whole lot of questions about what the future hold, which me and I'm pretty sure all of y'all want to know what the future looking like. Now, the likely starts with the future of head coach Kevin Stefanski and potential general manager Andrew Berry.
Let's talk about John Gruden. And oh man, this one's going to split the fan base right down the middle. Gruden is currently with Barstool Sports, former Raiders coach, and here's what I know for sure. This man loves football. He's a fanatic. He's obsessed. And if an opportunity came his way to get back into the NFL, he would jump at it in a heartbeat. He grew up a Cleveland fan too, which is why so many Browns fans have been begging for this hire. But hold on, because I talked to some people who covered Gruden in Oakland, and they gave me the other side of this story. When he was with the Raiders, he was terrible in the draft, bad in free agency, made questionable trades, like trading away Khalil Mack and Amari Cooper, then turning around and trading for Antonio Brown. That whole situation was a mess towards the end. And here's the kicker that should concern every Browns fan. Gruden absolutely ruined the Raiders' offensive line. You want to talk about bad O-lines? Oakland's might have been worse than ours at the end of his tenure, and that's saying something considering we're sitting at 31st ranked right now. So, it ended in flames. But, and this is a big but, Gruden is a great football mind. He's been sitting on the sidelines, chomping at the bit, more motivated than ever to prove he can still coach at the highest level. Would he come in with something to prove? Absolutely. Would he build Shedeur a functional offensive line? Based on history, I have serious doubts. Now let's get to someone I'm actually really intrigued by. Clint Kubiak, the offensive coordinator in Seattle. What this man has done with Sam Darnold is nothing short of miraculous. This is a guy whose career was literally over, and Kubiak made him look serviceable enough that the Seahawks are legitimate Super Bowl contenders. Kubiak is very offensive-minded. Everywhere he's been, he's focused on the offensive side. Pass game coordinator, offensive coordinator, quarterbacks coach. This is the kind of mind that could actually develop Shedeur properly. Now, he wasn't great with the Saints as an OC, I'll give you that, but what he's done in Seattle this year has made him one of the most enticing candidates on the market. For Shedeur's development, this is the type of coach we should be looking at, someone who knows how to maximize quarterback talent, someone who can scheme around limitations, someone who's proven he can take a broken QB and make him functional. Imagine what he could do with actual talent like Shedeur.
I actually do think that Deion Sanders becomes an option if Shedeur is still the starting quarterback next year. I'm not kidding. Deion maybe said he didn't want to coach in the NFL, but I guarantee you, if his son is the starting quarterback, that changes everything. It's something we see a lot across pro sports here. LeBron said he's not going to retire until he can take the floor with his son. And there we go. You had it over there. So I do think this would be a real possibility if Shedeur is a starting quarterback for a couple of years.
But now we get to the name that's going to break the internet. Deion Sanders, Coach Prime, the father of Shedeur Sanders himself. Let me tell you why this is more real than people think. Deion has already coached Shedeur in college for 1 year. They have the connection, the chemistry, the understanding, and here's what sources are saying. If Shedeur is the starting quarterback next year, Deion Sanders becomes a legitimate option for Cleveland. Now, I know what you're thinking. Didn't Deion say he doesn't want to coach in the NFL? Yes, he did, but let me ask you this. If your son is the starting quarterback, does that change everything? Of course it does. Look at LeBron James. He said he wouldn't retire until he could take the floor with his son, Bronny. And what happened? They made it happen in LA. This is the same energy. This is a father who would do anything to be on that sideline with his son, protecting him, developing him, making sure he reaches his full potential. And think about what this would mean for Shedeur. You'd have a coach who is 100% invested in your success, who knows your game inside and out, who would literally go to war for you. No hidden agendas, no sabotage, no BS politics. Just a father and son building something special together. Would it work in the NFL? That's the million-dollar question. Deion has health concerns, that's real. He's got a lot going on. But if you pair him with his son and Shedeur ends up being the franchise quarterback we all think he can be, man, I'm listening. I'm all ears. This would be the boldest move in NFL history, and Jimmy Haslam might just be crazy enough to do it. Now, let's talk about Matt Nagy, the Chiefs' offensive coordinator. I'm going to be straight with you. I didn't love Nagy when he was the head coach in Chicago. He had Trubisky to work with, which wasn't ideal, and then they traded up for Justin Fields. The quarterback situation was never great, but after his first decent year, it was all downhill. He got fired, and honestly, I wasn't surprised.
Most is $7.9 million. Then Barnwell went on to say, in Cleveland's Andrew Berry 2025 draft class 2026, the freedom to rebuild almost from stretch from scratch. He also noted that the ownership is insisting a winning games is likely a year or two. So, make a long story short, they're still prepared to tank another damn season, bro, if necessary, which is beyond me.
This year with the Chiefs, even Mahomes had a down year before getting injured. They missed the playoffs. So while his name is coming up in conversations because he's an offensive mind, he's not someone I'd be excited about for Shedeur. Pass. But then we get to the candidates that Diana Russini from The Athletic says will be heavily sought after, and this is where it gets really interesting. Chris Shula, the Rams defensive coordinator. What a job he's done in LA. The Rams are legitimate Super Bowl contenders, and that defense has been locking up opposing offenses all year. But again, defensive coordinator. For a team that needs offensive help desperately, I don't know if this is the move. Cliff Kingsbury, the Commanders' offensive coordinator. Now this is someone who impressed me with what he did in Washington. They brought in rookie Jaden Daniels and went to the NFC Championship game against the eventual Super Bowl champion Eagles. That's development. That's what we need. But when Kingsbury was the head coach of the Cardinals, he went 28-37-1. Not great. It seems like he's another one of those guys who's better as a coordinator than a head coach. However, the job he did with a young quarterback has to make you think, could he do the same for Shedeur? And then we get to the name I'm most excited about, Joe Brady. Joe Brady, the offensive coordinator of the Buffalo Bills. If he's available this offseason, he needs to be your guy. I'm going out on a limb and saying Joe Brady is the perfect fit for Cleveland and Shedeur Sanders. Look at what he's done with Josh Allen. Allen looks like the best offensive player in football right now, and Joe Brady is a large part of that success. And here's the thing. The Bills don't have much outside of Allen and Cook on offense. They got rid of Stephon Diggs. The weapons are limited. But Brady is just scheming things up, creating opportunities, maximizing what he has. The Bills' offense this year? 29.4 points per game, third in the entire NFL. Can you imagine seeing that number next to the Cleveland Browns? We're used to seeing 15, maybe 17 points per game. Seeing 29 would be absolutely beautiful. 381.2 yards per game, also top 3 in the league. Touchdowns per game, second in the NFL. These aren't flukes. This is consistent, high-level offensive production. If we could keep Jim Schwartz on defense and bring in Joe Brady for the offense, don't get me fantasizing about what that could look like, because it would be elite. Brady knows how to work with a quarterback, how to build an offense, how to create an identity. This is exactly what Shedeur needs.
The Department of Justice, Shedeur's civil rights has been violated on so many levels. You're sabotaging him. You're picking on him for no damn reason whatsoever. He's supposed to have been playing, and I hope he get the Pro Bowl vote. I ain't lying, and I hope he just inch closer up the Pro Bowl voting rank. Man, I talked to a good buddy of mine today, and he believes, just like I believe, that Shedeur Sanders could very much be the next Tom Brady. Some of y'all might laugh in the comments that I'm saying this.
Here's the bottom line, and I need you to really understand this. The next coach Cleveland hires will determine Shedeur Sanders' entire career trajectory. If they bring in another defensive-minded coach who doesn't know how to develop quarterbacks, we're going to waste another generational talent. If they bring in someone like Joe Brady, who can actually scheme, who can actually teach, who can actually build an offense around Shedeur's strengths, we might have something special. And if they go completely off script and bring in Deion Sanders, that would be the most polarizing, controversial, and potentially brilliant move in franchise history. A father coaching his son in the NFL, building something together from the ground up with complete trust and alignment. The options are there. The candidates are available. Jimmy Haslam is making calls, doing research, preparing for life after Kevin Stefanski. And based on these names, it's clear they're thinking about Shedeur's development, about building an offense, about finally getting this thing right. Joe Brady is my pick. That's the guy I want if I'm making the decision. Give me an offensive mastermind who's proven he can make a quarterback elite. Give me someone who can scheme around our terrible offensive line until we fix it. Give me someone who Shedeur can learn from and grow with for the next decade. But Deion Sanders? Man, if that happens, if Coach Prime actually comes to Cleveland to coach his son in the NFL, that would be must-see TV every single week. The storylines, the drama, the passion, it would be unlike anything we've ever seen in the NFL. Jesse Minter's intriguing too, especially with the Tommy Rees connection. A young college coach making the jump with a coordinator he already has chemistry with, that could work. That could really work. What it can't be is another Robert Saleh or Brian Flores situation, where we're hiring a defensive coordinator to fix an offensive problem. That's insanity. That's doing the same thing over and over, expecting different results. Shedeur Sanders deserves a coach who's going to maximize his potential, who's going to protect him, who's going to build an actual offensive system instead of just throwing him to the wolves behind the 31st ranked offensive line. So, here's what I want to know from you, and I need you to think hard about this before you answer. If you could pick any coach from this list to lead the Cleveland Browns and develop Shedeur Sanders, who would it be? Joe Brady? Deion Sanders? Marcus Freeman? Someone else? And here's the second question. If Deion Sanders actually becomes available and wants to coach Shedeur in the NFL, does Cleveland have the guts to make that hire? Or are they going to play it safe and bring in another boring retread? Drop your picks in the comments. Tell me who you want as the next head coach. Tell me if you're ready for the Deion Sanders era or if you think I'm crazy for even suggesting it. Look, the coaching carousel is about to spin, and Cleveland is right in the middle of it. Kevin Stefanski's days are numbered. That's not speculation anymore, that's reality. And whoever replaces him is going to inherit a franchise quarterback in Shedeur Sanders, who just needs the right leadership to unlock his potential. The options are out there. The candidates are available. Now it's up to Jimmy Haslam to make the right call and not screw this up like they've screwed up so many coaching hires before. If you made it this far, you're part of the community. Hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications, because when this coaching news breaks, I'm going live immediately with full analysis. You don't want to miss that moment. Until next time, let's hope Cleveland finally gets this right. Peace.